Welcome guys, and thank you for tuning in. Today we're going to be working on this 1989 BMW 325iX. As you guys can hear, that screeching noise is coming from the release bearing. Therefore, we're going to have to remove the transmission and replace the whole mechanical part of the clutch system. Unfortunately, my hoist won't work for this specific task. Therefore, I'm going to have to do it on the floor. First things first, safety. Be sure to use some jack stands, and before going underneath the vehicle, be sure that the vehicle is perfectly secure. Alright, let's begin with the interior. Remove the shift knob, shift boot, and all the insulator. Disconnect the reverse light switch. Remove these nuts that secures the shifter assembly to the body. Disconnect the oxygen sensor by twisting it. Remove all 6 hardware that secures the downpipe to the exhaust manifold. Remove these exhaust hangers. Remove a couple of these hardwares, which are the last thing that's securing the exhaust system. From there, the whole exhaust should be able to come out easily. Remove this heat shield so we can get access to the rear drive shaft. Be sure to mark the mounting points of the drive shaft before removing it, so when we put it back together, it won't be out of pace. Mark the front drive shaft as well before removing it. Use a U-joint adapter and then remove the slave cylinder. Support the transmission, then remove the bracket that's mounted on the transfer case and slowly lower the back end of the transmission. Pry and push the drive shaft back in order to get it out of the way. A little FYI, this part of the drive shaft can be pushed back. Remove both front wheels to get to the subframe bolts. Remove this intake air pipe so when we lower the engine, we won't hit the brake fluid reservoir. Support the front subframe. We're going to have to lower it in order to get access to the top bell housing bolts. After the engine and the transmission has been lowered, reach over to the side of the engine and remove a couple of hardwares that secures the starter. I'll use some socket extension and a swivel adapter in order to get access to the top bell housing bolts. Finally, remove the rest of the bell housing bolts. Use a floor jack to support and lower the transmission. And if you can, use some sort of transmission adapter. Unfortunately, the way I set up the car wasn't high enough, therefore I'm going to have to use a piece of wood, so go ahead, judge me. Pop out the front drive shaft from the transfer case so it doesn't come out when we pull out the transmission. Pry between the engine and the transmission and it should be able to slide out. After removing the transmission from the vehicle, what we suspected was right. This release bearing supposed to be a one-piece, blew up into multiple pieces. Now it's time to clean the bell housing and remove all the debris. Be sure to lubricate all the mounting and sliding points. Then install the clutch fork and its retainer, as well as the new release bearing. Let's remove the old pressure plate and the old clutch disc. The flywheel is still in good condition, it shows no hot spot, therefore we replace the pilot bearing, clutch disc, and the pressure plate. Be sure to torque the hardware to specification. Align the front drive shaft to the transfer case. So from here, everything is going to be in reverse order compared to how we remove the transmission. Now to completely slide the transmission in, you may need some help to turn the crankshaft in order to spline the transmission input shaft to the clutch disc. Also, ensure that the front drive shaft is aligned to the front differential when sliding the transmission towards the engine. And we're back at it again with the top bell housing bolts as well as the starter hardwares. Once again, to get to those top bell housing bolts, you're going to need some extension and a swivel adapter. Secure the slave cylinder in place. Tighten the front differential hardwares. Route the reverse light switch into the cabin. Reinstall the transfer case bracket to the body. From here we can raise and secure the front subframe. Reinstall this intake pipe. Be sure that all the marks that we made are all lined up, and then reinstall the drive shaft so it won't be out of pace. We're getting closer to the finish line, so now let's reinstall the seat kit. Install the exhaust mid-pipe bracket. Now align the exhaust out pipe to the exhaust manifold. Install a couple of hardwares and leave it loose for a bit. From there, let's secure the exhaust on the hangers, as well as the mid-pipe bracket. Now we can completely secure the up pipe to the exhaust manifold. After that, reconnect the O2 sensor. So now we can install both front wheels. After this, we're gonna go on our last step, which is gonna be in the cabin. Install these nuts that secure the shifter linkage. Resecure all the insulator and then connect the reverse light switch. And finally, our shift boot and shift knob. At last, I'm finally going to be able to lower the vehicle and then torque all the wheels, and that is it. Now here comes the best part. I get to enjoy and drive this baby again. As you guys can hear now, that screeching noise is finally gone. Once again, thank you guys so much for spending time watching this video. I hope you guys like this first how-to video that I made. For more car videos, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and feel free to share any of my videos. Also, follow me on Instagram at DonIsTheName. Until then, see you guys. Have a good one.